In this video, we're going to implement the get method. That is very easy. So right after the put method, I'm going to create a public method that returns a string get with a parameter called key. Now, what should we do here? Once again, we should use our hash function to figure out at which index we might have stored this key value pair. So we call hash of key and store the result in this index variable. Next, we need to go to entries of index, and that is our bucket, right? So let's store that over here. Now, we want to iterate over this bucket and check every entry. If we find an entry with the same key, we want to return its value. Otherwise, that means we don't have this key value pair or this entry in our hash table. So for var entry in bucket, if entry.key equals key, we want to return entry.value. Now, what if we don't have a linked list at this position? Bucket is going to be null, and we're going to get an exception when we iterate over null. So here we did an if statement. If bucket is not null, then we're going to do this for loop. So this is where we are searching for that item. If we don't find it and end up here, that means we really don't have it, so we should return null. Now let's test our hash table up to this point. So back to our main class, I'm going to create a hash table, new hash table, and I'm going to use the same key value pairs that we had in previous videos. So table.put 6 and A. Earlier you saw that we stored this at index 1 because the remainder of division of 6 by 5, which is the size of our hash table, is 1. Similarly, we're going to put 8 and B. This entry is going to be stored at index 3. Now to test the collision, let's put 11 and C. So the remainder of division of 11 by 5 is also 1, but we have an entry at this location. So 11 is going to be appended to our linked list. Now, finally, I'm going to do a simple print line, done. And I'm going to put a breakpoint on this line and run this program using debugger so we can look inside the hash table. So we press Control and D. If this doesn't work on your machine, on the top under the Run menu, you can find Debug. All right. So after all these insertions, our table is going to look like this. I'm going to expand this. Take a look. So we have an array of entries. The null elements are not shown. We only see elements that are initialized. So at index 1, we have a linked list with 2 items. What are these items? We have 1 entry. This is our first key value pair, 6 and A. Beautiful. What about the second one? 11 and C. Perfect. We also have another linked list at index 3. This is where we have stored this key value pair. Now let's try a duplicate key. So let's stop the debugger. Take a look. Under the Run menu, we can stop the debugger. The shortcut on Mac is Command and F2. So Command and F2. All right. Now let's do a table.put. This time we're going to pass 6, but with A plus as the value. Let's run the program one more time. All right. Here's our table. And in our first linked list, the value of this entry is updated. Beautiful. Finally, let's test the get method. So I'm going to stop the debugger. Now, instead of printing done, we're going to call table.get and pass a key like 6. Take a look. So we get A plus. Beautiful. What about a key that doesn't exist? Let's say 10. We get null. So everything is working up to this point. Next, we're going to implement the remove method.